Hello, family and friends. This is MG with another episode of the Reimagine You Lab podcast. And you guys know there's always somebody in the lab. I don't bring you no junk. All the folks that show up here are amazing and have some amazing things that they're going to be able to share with you. And as we get started, you guys know I always have to give a nod. If you haven't already, do subscribe because every Friday we drop gems with jewels that come in and share and impart into our lives. And so I'm looking forward to all of those of you who have signed up. I want to thank you guys for pushing us up to 13,000 people on YouTube, 10,000 on IG. You guys, thank you. Thank you. I cannot thank you enough. All right. So now that we've got all of that out of the way, y'all know how we start these shows. Y'all know that this is what I do. I've already told our guest that she's ready. So, all right, Miss Tina, I want to thank you for being here tonight. How are you?
I am great. And thank you so much for inviting me.
100.
This is amazing.
Absolutely. So, Tina, this is when I tell you, I remember I teed it up already. Tina, we're going to go beyond the bio and I want you to tell them who you are, where you're at, what you do, and how you do it, sis.
Well, I'm Tina Greer. I am a mom, a wife of 32 years. I am a business owner and I love to help people. I love to empower, to inspire, to educate, and train individuals and push them into their greatness.
Yes. Girl, I love it. Tina, where you at?
I'm actually in Georgia.
In Georgia. Okay. I was just in Atlanta last month. I was in Atlanta last month for an AI conference. Was you there?
Yes, actually, that is how we met. We sat at the same table.
Yes. Girl, I was like, I know this girl. Okay.
We sat at the table and we were talking. You invited me to come on your show. Yes. I did what I needed to do. And yeah, we met through AI, Alicia Little's AI Summit.
That is right. Girl, forgive me. See, that's just how fast the days go by, right? Good to see you again, and so glad that you are here. Well, you know what? One of the things, I always ask the question. Well, hang on. Now, since we're going down this path, let me ask: how have things been for you since you've gotten back from the summit? Good.
Oh my goodness, it is. I'm like running around, just going to and fro and making sure I'm on top of everything. It's amazing. It is amazing. I am a certified AI consultant, CPD accredited. And, I have a lot of things going on and I'm positioning myself to really get out there and speak. I have a speaking training and facilitating for a global audience on tomorrow morning, actually.
See there? Listen,
so it's a lot going on. I'm excited about it to really empower. Like I said, that empowerment part, educate, train, inspire, empower, to really, help individuals level up on their skill set.
Absolutely not. 100%. I love it. You know what? And Tina, I always think about, there's moments in life, right, when we feel that stirring, that quiet nudge, right, saying there's more than this, right? And most people ignore it. Some fear it, but there's a few, they answer, right? And the answer becomes that turning point. Today, I wanted to talk about what it looks like to honor that inner call and that courage and clarity, even when the next step sometimes is unknown. Have you
I've experienced it. Yes. And what I say, I do it afraid. I have to, because sometimes fear just stops me, or fear will stop you in your tracks. You're destined for greatness. You know that you deserve better. You want it, but hesitation steps in, or imposter syndrome steps in. And or the ideal of everything has to be perfect before I do something. So all of that needs to go away, because it's now is the time.
It is
the time. I mean, Because when I look at what's going on in the world and where we are and what's affected us, especially as women and African American women or
Mhm.
minority women, now is the time is to position yourself to be ready, to get ready, to when opportunities present itself, you can
Mhm.
step into that and
Yeah.
not be afraid. Because I think that not having the confidence to move forward because you don't know everything stifles us.
Yeah.
So, for me in this part of my life at this time and the reimagination, I can see myself excelling and going higher
Yes.
and high, learning something new,
Yeah.
incorporating it into what I already know and
Mhm.
are really good at, and
Mhm.
then just taking it on to the next level. That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I'm so glad that we starting here, because you're absolutely right. A lot of times people, that
Yeah.
hesitation is a big one. It gets in the way of so many things. And sometimes you think, like, because people will say, I may have overthought it. Sometimes I do some overthinking, and really, when you hesitate, most of the time, I want to say, you guys will have to, I'm going to have to make sure that y'all fact check this and then share it with me in the comments. But I want to say that I was reading I believe it was Psychology Today, and they were talking about the percentage of people who pause themselves for whatever reason, if it's fear, if it is, that perfectionism, like you said, that imposter syndrome and different things. But there's a hesitation. And when people hesitate, 76% of the time, they never recover from it. So they hesitate and then they don't go forward. So the challenge that is kind of like, like you want to have that steady stream, like the continual moving forward on things. You get an idea, go ahead and implement it, execute on it, don't hold up. That hesitation is a killer. So
Yes.
one of the things that you did something that a lot of people are afraid to do, right? Like you're somebody who walked away from what others would call security, and you
Mhm.
stepped into purpose on purpose.
Mhm.
On purpose. And being a businesswoman, a strategist, a mentor, a consultant, and all the different roles that you play, tell me a little bit about, paint us a picture of your life just before you made the decision to leave corporate. What was happening on the inside of you at that time?
Well, in regards to that, I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. I did the right thing, go to school, get the good grades. You're gonna get that good job at the end. So, and
That's
I've
the
always
bonus, right?
wanted to be in corporate. I always wanted to be in business. I did know
Yeah.
that, a
Mhm.
businesswoman. And I did all of those things. And to the point where, taking care of my family, putting my kids through college and
Mhm.
things of that nature. But internally, I was frustrated. I
Yeah.
knew I wanted different. I knew I deserved better. I
Mhm.
wanted better. And this is not my life. Even though I was good at what I did, this is not my purpose. This is not
Yeah.
what I was destined to do.
Yeah.
So I knew that from the jump. But I wanted to, you had at the time, I was realistic. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna do what I need to do because I have a family. I have
Mhm.
mortgage. I have bills to pay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah. That
so
job is an investor in our
yes,
future, right? Yeah.
exactly. But I knew in my heart of hearts that this is not what I'm supposed to be doing,
Right.
you know. And for me, I was afraid to step out,
Mhm.
very
Mhm.
afraid to, with that safety net, to step away from the safety net. I was
Yeah.
afraid to do that. Getting accolades at work, you're doing a great job, you do this, you that, doing
Mhm.
all
Mhm.
those things,
Yeah.
but afraid to step away. And to the point where I feel like God pushed me out. He was
Okay,
like,
I was gonna I
push
was
me
gonna
out.
ask, what were you feeling that told you I can't stay here, even before you said it out loud, right? Like, so what was
Mhm.
what was that feeling where it's like, you know what, it's time.
It was like I wanted to go, but I was afraid to go.
Mhm.
I wanted to go, but I was afraid to let go. I did not let go. And the thing about it is that when my boss called me, I think it was that Friday, well, Tina, they're getting ready to make some changes in the organization, resize, downsize, all of these things.
Reduction in force. Yeah.
Yes, all those fancy words. And I was like, I asked her, I said, are you for real? Nah, because, I always wanted to leave, but I was afraid to leave. Are you for real? Is this really going to happen? And in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, this is really happening, And so that just propelled me to do what I wanted to do in regards to building my business and so forth. And then I never looked back. I just, continued on and, as an entrepreneur and helping others and utilizing all that I've learned through education, as well as my experience in my corporate position.
In corporate,
to empower, to educate others that may not have the access that I had in fulfilling, their desires, their goals, their dreams. But I gave them the steps, the tools of what I know in order to help them grow in their business.
No, that's good. Tina, how long were you in corporate, and then now how long have you been on the other side, just full time?
Full time entrepreneur, like a full time, because I was always dabbling. Even though I was in corporate, I had my side hustles.
Yes, yep.
Always,
Me too.
always, because again, I'm an entrepreneur at heart. But I knew the value of going to school, get good grades, get that stability, that corporate job. That's, when I grew up, that's what I was told to do. I know nowadays things may be different, but that is what was ingrained, in me. And I, received my master's degree and all that. So when I decided, I had 20 plus years in corporate America, 20 plus years. In government contracts management, business development, pricing multi-million-dollar proposals, and so forth. And then when I transitioned, once that was over, I think it was actually officially over in the last 10 years. I've been a full-time entrepreneur ever since.
Beautiful. Sometimes that internal shift happens long before that external one does, right?
Yes.
Like you said, you done been an entrepreneur your whole life. I am with you. I am a fellow sister in the side hustle as well. Work in corporate, then do your side hustles, and been doing that, girl, for years.
Yes.
For years. So tell me this: what was a lot of times we'll have the things that I always like to really kind of delve in, because we get to that moment of a decision. I always like to ask the question, what was the biggest change that changed you? And you shared that it was making that leap from, like, hey, I've been doing these things on the side for a number of years. Now I'm going to, and here we are 10 years later, you've been doing it ever since. But there's somebody that's listening that's saying, what was that tipping point when you knew that things had to change? And maybe it was when they approached you and said, hey, Tina, we doing something different in the organization now. And so that was I always tell people, like, it seemed like those are those nice nudges, right? Like those nice nudges, because usually you get a little something on your way out, and then you feel a little more safe, on that other side. Talk to me a little bit about, was it for you, did you feel like it was, talk through what that piece felt like, because there's somebody who's made the shift and they still adjusting to it, right? Like, okay, how does this work? So talk to us about over on the other side. Like, okay, you know what, I got here and it's different. I have to, there's some things that I have to do. Like I was talking to a young lady a few days ago, and she was like, Michelle, listen, what I thought was that young gal who was a little humble and wanted to make sure, she was like, because she had got fired from her job, so it wasn't like a package or anything that she got to go with her. So like she's like, girl, I had to eat. And so in
Mm-hmm.
order to eat, she was like, I became a hunter overnight. So what was
Mm-hmm.
that process like for you? Like, was it, hey, you just leaped in, you just kind of walked in? What was it, sudden and slow? Or was it more, hey, I just easily transitioned and I just was running at the beginning? How was that for you?
For me, it was like a breath of fresh air. And
Okay.
because like
Mm-hmm.
now I can focus in on what I want to do. And but then you go through that period of time where as you're so used to that W-2 to a 1099, because W-2, you're getting it every 2 weeks, every or bi-monthly,
Yeah.
you're getting that check. But then
Mm-hmm.
now is not coming that way. So again, that's a reality check right there, because
Mm-hmm.
you're not, you were comfortable and get every 2 weeks I'm getting a check, even though I'm frustrated, I want to leave, so on and so forth. But
Mm-hmm.
now as an entrepreneur, you have to, like you say, go hunt. You have to figure it out. You have to say, well, what am I good at?
Mm-hmm.
What type of what are some people's pain? You have to really study. You have to go out and study your ideal client. What do they need from me? Well, what can I do? Doing a self-assessment, what can I
Mm-hmm.
give that people
Mm-hmm.
are looking for?
Yeah.
So it's really going within oneself, and thinking about, what am I good at? What would people pay for me to do? And what is it that, what is my purpose? What is my passion? How can I
Mm-hmm.
make some money? All
Mm-hmm.
those different things that you think about.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
getting out of your comfort zone,
Yeah. That's a
not being
big piece of
afraid
it
to
right
talk
there.
to people. Yes, because you're in a bubble. W-2, you're in a bubble. You're working, you're doing what you're supposed to do, you do your job, that's it. But now it's, you got to get out here and talk to people. You got to build relationships. You got to know how to network strategically, and
Yes.
with intention,
Mm-hmm.
in order,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
even though you now have more time, but the thing about that is that sometimes as an entrepreneur, we don't know how to turn it off. It's like a 24/7. You out, if something come through, just like, you're hustling. You're like, oh, let me do this, or let me write this letter, or do this proposal, or whatever
Mm-hmm.
I need to do to make this coin.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you're working more hours as an entrepreneur
Yeah.
versus a 9 to 5.
Yeah. You know what? I'm glad you went there because that was the next thing I wanted to talk about was that identity shift. Because an entrepreneur and a corporate 9 to 5, the mindsets are different.
Yes,
They need to be right,
right.
like because like you said, it's like, oh, okay, I have to do these things to make this coin, but there's a very big difference between that paycheck coming in and us going out and having to hunt. So when you think about that, because you said that this change made you resilient,
Yes.
and so I'm thinking resilience, I'm thinking identity shift. In
Hmm.
what ways did you have to strengthen your mind, your discipline, or even your faith?
Hmm. Oh yeah, because even when I was working in corporate, knowing I was helping people and I was doing a good job, but that's not what I was purposed to do. So sometimes I was just miserable. And but
Mhm.
you got to get up every day because you have responsibilities. Your family is looking to you,
They
and
depended on
put
you.
food on
Yeah.
the table. Pay bills, pay mortgage or rent, whatever you're doing. So
Mhm.
you got to kind of just put your personal feelings aside and do what you got to do. And sometimes that's okay, but you still have goals and dreams and desires, and you want to build on them. So, you have to make sure that you're feeding your intellect, feeding that and nurturing that to where
Yeah.
when it's time to make that transition, you can easily do that. So, it may be long nights, long days,
Mhm.
long nights, and you're grinding,
Mhm.
in your entrepreneur endeavors, but still
Mhm.
having that 9 to 5 until you're able to walk away. So some people are forced out, but then some can easily walk away. But you always have to be, structure yourself to be in position.
Mhm.
And it's going to be sacrifices that one would make in order to be successful. So,
Yeah.
everybody can't do it. Everybody can't be an entrepreneur.
Everybody can't. Everybody can't. What would you say is the biggest? in that shift, right? Like, what would you say is the biggest quality or characteristic that one has to have when they do move from? Because I talk to a lot of people. We work with
Mm-hmm.
individuals who are creating new revenue streams,
Mm-hmm.
monetizing on, products and services. And so, what would you say is like the biggest quality that a person has to have, a thing that they gonna have to do when you make that shift? Because it's we said it's different, but what would be a piece of a tool or something to put in their handbook that you would say they would need in order to make that shift, or make that shift not as much of a jolt as it can be a joy?
Well, I think that, going to the basics of your soft skills, know how to communicate what you want, know how to articulate and talk to people and explain to them what services or offerings you provide, or just how to, in different settings, what would
Mm-hmm,
you say to that person and how would you respond? So you will have to do some self development as
mm-hmm.
an entrepreneur, because
Yeah.
your ideal client or your clients are out there, and they may have different personalities, different characteristics. You have to
Mm-hmm.
know how to deal with people, if you
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
be
If
an
you in business, you
entrepreneur.
got to, or you won't be in business long. It's the people that are purchasing. Yeah.
Exactly. So that is like going to the simplest form, because a lot of people, they want to be an entrepreneur, but they don't want to talk to anybody. Or, someone says no, they get an attitude, I'm not going to try anymore because that one person said no. So, and don't get in your feelings. Everything,
Yeah.
don't get so attached to that no,
Yeah.
because that is an emotional attachment. You feel like you're being rejected. So
Hmm.
there's a lot of internal growth that you have to have, and then
Hmm.
also investing in yourself through education
Hmm.
and knowledge, and getting around those individuals that are doing what you want to do, that can quasi mentor you, or
Yeah.
coach you, or invest in a coach to
Hmm.
help you navigate through those different processes so you can be successful.
Yeah. No, I love that. Resilience, I think, doesn't show up fully formed. It's built.
It's built.
One hard yes, one hurting no at a time, right? Like it,
Yes.
like that's just, that's just how it goes. Like love the process, like go through the process, and there's really no way around it.
Mm-mm.
Um, Thinking about you coach people. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of the work and stuff that you do is helping people with the self development and things like that. I want to know, like, I know you had said your advice is do it afraid, right?
Mm-hmm.
What does doing it afraid look like in real practice? Because a lot of times people will say, I'm trying, I want to do it afraid. And then there's some that can't get over that hurdle. Get in a practical way, share a piece of advice that you would give to someone that you was coaching or mentoring of
I
what
would
doing it
say,
afraid looks like.
yeah, I would say confidence. Have confidence. Do it afraid is that no matter what I'm going, like for instance, if you're going into a networking event and you don't know anybody, you got to get out of your shell and talk to people. You
Mhm,
have to, your posture, how you
mhm,
present yourself, all of that
mhm,
is speaking
mhm,
about
mhm.
your brand and what you bring to the table. So you want to make sure you have the confidence in knowing that you are the best. You're better than sliced bread. You know
Yeah.
what you are talking about, and you can deliver. And then so that will be showed in the confidence you bring. That will be showed in when you articulate your product or service, when you're talking to people, or even starting to build a relationship with a colleague. But you
Yeah.
want to make sure, not being boastful, but you
Mhm.
know what you know. And
Right.
no one can tell you differently, like you don't know what you're doing. So, you're going to have to compartmentalize the
Mhm.
naysayers, because,
Yeah.
they're going to be there, and try to position and put yourself in the presence of individuals that are going in the direction that you want to go,
Yeah.
because you're going to need that support with you, and that where you can talk to another colleague that understands what you're going through, because
Yeah.
sometimes a person who that does not have any aspirations, they are happy, with their current situation, they're not trying to grow or anything like that, you can't point and tell different things to a person like that. You're not going
Right.
to be fed. You want someone where you can engage and have, those conversations, and also up level you, they're
Yeah.
no more than you, so it's going to help push you even further. So I know I said a mouthful, but that is
Good
so much
stuff.
about that confidence. You have to be confident and know what you know, and say, "Hey, I'm gonna do this afraid. I know, I'm good at this particular skill set. It's been proven. I did it in corporate America. Now I'm gonna do it for me, for
Hmm.
my business, my brand."
Yeah. No, I love that. You know what? And I just want to add something to what you said, because that confidence is a big piece. I think you people need courage
Yes,
to share their confidence, the things that
yes.
they're confident in.
Hmm.
So, I remember, and this has been years back, but I remember going to a networking event, and I was actually for work. And I remember thinking, and I'm usually a pretty bubbly person and don't have a problem, chatting with people and meeting people and things like that. And I remember a young lady who was there, and what they used to call the people that go to the party, and they are the wallflower. She was a
Okay.
wallflower.
Uh-huh.
And so she said, um, I saw her, just really quiet, I'm floating around, and I remember seeing her, and I remember just going up to her and asking her. I was like, "Hey, so how's the time been for you since you've been here?" And she's like, she's like, "These kind of things make me nervous, like they make me." I said, "You know what? The best thing that you can do is just go and just have the courage to walk over to at least one person
Yes.
and just ask them how the night is going for them." And
Hmm.
I remember she did it. She went and she talked to several people by the end of the night. And she said, "You know what? I'm glad that because we saw each other when we were leaving." And she said, "I am so glad that you gave me something that I can share, that I can ask." And I said, and a lot of it is just having the courage to go and do it, because
Hmm.
we can always use the old line out the Wiz, right? And he needed courage. It's already in you, that
Hmm.
confidence, what you're good at, what you're able to do, what all your
Hmm.
transferable skills, like you're still using all of that same stuff. So
Hmm.
now I love it. Confidence is so needed. Girl, thinking about your time and people that you have worked with and you have seen, what do you think is the key to people being able to have the level of success and such that they want? Because sometimes people think, well, I can't do it, I'm not going to be successful at it. And having that confidence to leverage what and all of those things, what do you think that people should do or need to do to be able to really succeed as an entrepreneur, you
Hmm.
know taking that step?
Well, sometimes, and let me level set too in regards to understanding entrepreneurship, and it's not easy.
Yeah,
You have to
100%.
build. You have to build brick by brick. You have to build that strong foundation, and then
Hmm.
from that, because sometimes people see the other side or the glamorous side, but they don't
Yeah.
see you grinding at night, or even when you shed in the tears, like, Lord, how am I going to pay this bill? I need this
Mhm.
income to come in. But you have to stay steadfast and build
Mhm.
it brick by brick, and know that some people become very successful quickly. That may
Mhm.
be you, but that may not be you. But
Right.
you have to have that stick to itiveness and
Hmm.
not give up on yourself, no
Yeah.
matter what.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that. When you think about who are some of the people or what did you have, do you have a coach currently?
I do. I do have a coach currently, and I'm
Mhm.
all in with AI. So Alicia is my coach.
Yeah, mine too. Mine
Okay.
too. Mine too. When you think about, because a lot of times people get they're like, gosh, I just don't want to make that investment, or I don't want to, it costs so much, or whatever. And I'm like, but there's so much that you can gain. So I'm always thinking about for people. And so for those of you who are listening into this conversation today, you guys are hearing Tina. Y'all know what y'all she's a sister she's cold-blooded at what she does, and she helps a lot of women. She helps a lot of men. Tina, talk a little bit about making the investment, spending the time with a coach so that you can level up, because sometimes it fast pass what you want or what you're needing to be able to do, and you can shortcut it when you have a coach. When you're trying to do it all by yourself and on your own, it's a long and a hard road. You can make it a little bit easier.
Right, right. You can go to YouTube University for only so much, but you need to invest in yourself, invest in your business, invest in yourself in order to fast track.
Yeah.
And sometimes, with the understanding, sometimes the investment amounts may be, you feel that it's like not doable, but you want
Hmm.
it. Then look at the options. They may have payment options or things of that nature, but
Hmm.
it is important to, instead of trying to figure it out,
Hmm.
align yourself with the coach that has already done it and
Yeah.
can show you exactly step by step what is it that you need to focus on in order to get to that level you're trying to get at.
Yeah.
Because and then also, it having investing in yourself, that's
Hmm.
it's an investment,
Yeah.
period. But
100%.
you have to understand that a person, your coach, is imparting their knowledge, their wisdom, their resources into you in
Hmm.
order for you to be successful, because they want, you're a product of
Of
their
them. Yeah.
of them, and they want, you to be successful. So they're
Yeah.
going to encourage you, they're going to be right there with you and giving you the guidance, the tools, the resources you need to elevate.
Yes.
So I understand, believe me, there's a variety of different type of coaches out here, and depending upon your niche and what you're trying to do your research. Find the one that's going to work with you, that
Yes.
is the personality, that
Ye-
fits, that has the
Yep.
same mission, the values that you're looking for, and can get you where you're trying to go. And
Yeah.
then make that investment. So be smart and be intentional about it.
Yeah. No, I absolutely love that. Gosh, I always feel like the time just goes by so quickly. Tina, I want to make sure that I give everybody. We've got we're gonna put all the link information in the description. But I want you to share with people, tell them where to find you, how to get in contact with you. Who do you help?
Yeah, so I work with small and mid-sized businesses in helping them integrate and use AI tools in order to increase operation efficiencies, make really better decisions in their
Mhm.
business, and scale their business with impact. So those are the things that I do, and also I work with those individuals. The types of companies I work with is those who are interested in government contracts, going into
Mhm.
government contracts training, and then, of
Mhm.
course, professional support service sectors as well. So I am a
Mhm.
business coach, business growth strategist, and certified AI consultant. And I love to help individuals and push them into their greatness.
Push them on into their greatness,
Push
Tina.
them.
I love it. I love it. You guys, you heard her. Business growth, AI consultant. She's a strategist. She will help you. She can let her become part of your growth cycle, right? You want that,
Yes.
you need that. Tina is the one that can help you get there. And Tina, before we get out of here, I've got to ask you, what would you say are your top 3 pieces of advice for change makers?
For change makers, first and foremost, you have to be open to change. And change requires sacrifice, but it also requires transformation of thinking of your mind and also your actions.
Mhm.
So I would encourage individuals to keep moving, whether it be step by step, inch by inch, but keep moving forward. Don't give up, because change will happen. It's going to
Mhm.
be either mandate, look, it's going to happen whether you want to or not, but you just want to be in position to make a change and also make a difference in your
Ah,
family lives, in your lives, and everyone that you touch.
absolutely. Tina, I want to thank you for being here, for standing as evidence that purpose and provision can coexist.
Yes.
And the courage is not absence of fear, but moving forward while fear watches, right? Like, hey, the fear can be on to be a bystander. I'm going anyway. I'm doing it
That's right.
anyway. We're doing it anyway. You have been great. Thank you so much for coming on,
Thank
encouraging the
you for
folks.
inviting me. I'm glad we met. I know I'll see you again face to face at some point in time.
Yes, ma'am, you will. You will. Oh my goodness. Family, if today's episode stirred something in you, don't silence it. I want you to honor it, because your chapter may require more effort and it may require more honesty in doing what it is that you want to do. Remember, you can reimagine. This is, we come into the lab so that we can reimagine. I want to thank you guys for being here. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do so. And if there was something you heard today, make sure that you share it with a friend, a family member, a colleague, and you will be gratefully thanked for helping us as we continue to do the show. I want to thank you for being here, and you guys have a great night. Until next Friday. See you then.